Just cut it out. Okay, we're ready. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to get my agenda. We are here for the Marion County Board of Commissioners weekly board session. It's Wednesday, August 31st, 2022. It's 9:02 a.m. and we're in the Senator Hearing Room at 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. And if you would please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Looking for a pen. All right. Well, before we go to public comment, I would like to ask my colleagues for unanimous consent to do a special appreciation activity this morning. Do I have your support?
Without objection.
Great. So
Well, I don't know.
Oh.
What's this about?
This is about the fact that every week we have the opportunity to go live on television to our community. It's really important for us to be able to connect with our citizens in every way possible, and we can't do that without the support of CCTV and their amazing staff. And for several years, we have had one individual that helps us every Wednesday. His name is Sharam. Would you come out here? He's in this back little room over here. Yeah, see, you thought you were going to hijack my meeting right before we opened it, but we're going to do it on live TV instead.
She's going to hijack
Go ahead
her
and
own
have
meeting.
a seat. Yeah, I'm going to hijack my own meeting. So, for the record, would you introduce yourself for the world?
I'm Sharam, and I'm a video producer for CC Media.
How long have you been working with the Board of Commissioners?
It's been 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has it been a really long time for you?
Long enough.
Well, do you want to tell us where you're going? You don't have to.
I don't have like anything lined up exactly. I've been helping out at Gov Cup serving coffees, so
Great.
yeah.
Well, you've been a huge asset to us, especially me. I've only been here a year and a half, and every week, well, before I was the chair, I sat over here and was worried about, like, what's this year going to look like? And you do such a great job keeping us on task, mostly in the corner. Nobody knows what he does for us back there, but it's really helpful. So, Commissioners, do you want to say anything to Shram before we send him on his way?
I just appreciate your welcoming smile every week. There's a lot
You're
to be
welcome.
said for just making people feel welcome and happy when they come to a space like this. So
Yeah, thanks
for doing that.
You're welcome.
I appreciate the fact that you told me you were voting for me, or you voted for me, but you don't even live in Marion County. So that was like, we have people come in and talk about voter fraud all the time. So can you tell us how you did that? No, that was funny, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
That's a misunderstanding. Like, in my heart, I vote for you.
And in my heart,
Good
I do a
answer.
lot of things too.
Good answer.
Strong, thank you so
Hey, thank
much
you
for
guys
your
so much.
years of service and taking care of us. And I know wherever you land, you will be an asset to that company, even if it's serving coffee. And as a hospitality cafe guy all my life, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a great place to have a career. So whatever you do, good luck to
Yeah,
you.
thank
Best
you.
wishes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We don't have anything much, but we do have a card for you. So, walk over. Thank you. And then after our meeting, Shram, we do have coffee cake in the side room, in our little secret commissioner room, so we expect you to come out and eat with us. All right, thanks for indulging us. It's fun to be able to say thanks to those that help us in our jobs every day. And now we'll move on to public comment, which turns out there's none. And so we'll move into the consent agenda. Commissioner Willis, would you read that?
I will.
Great.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda. Under Finance, approve Amendment Number 1 to the Cable Television Franchise Agreement with Comcast of Oregon to increase the franchise area to include the unincorporated areas of Marion County through June 30th, 2028, and revise the side letter agreement to extend the county's free use of Comcast dark fiber for 3 additional months through September 30th, 2022. Under Sheriff's Office, approve Amendment Number 6 to the Incoming Funds Intergovernmental Agreement with the United States Department of the Interior, Bureau of Land Management, to add $101,952 for a new contract total of $268,740.72 to continue to provide patrol services on BLM land through September 30th, 2023.
I will second that motion.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair, if I may, just want to thank, I know a couple of Comcast representatives are here today, and we want to thank them for allowing Marion County to continue briefly on the dark fiber, and our relationship over the years has been really important. I want to thank them for being here today. Even though it's on the consent calendar, they don't get to come up here and blab about it, but I wanted to recognize them. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. And we'll now move on to our items under action. The first one is Health and Human Services to consider approval of the incoming funds intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Health Authority in the amount of $901,705 for aid and assistance to enhance programs and services that support individuals retroactive to July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. Good morning, Ryan.
Morning. Good morning, Commissioners. And for the record, Ryan Matthews, Administrator with Marion County Health and Human Services. And I am here seeking approval of an intergovernmental agreement with Oregon Health Authority, and this is for our Aid and Assist program. The $901,705 goes to support individuals who are unable to participate in their own defense due to mental health challenges. If it's determined by the courts that an individual needs to receive services before they can participate at trial, then there's usually basically two ways that will go. One will be that they will be referred to the Oregon State Hospital and they'll receive treatment there. And the other would be that they are assigned under community restoration and assigned to the community mental health program, that is us, to make sure that they receive the services and supports they need to be able to prepare themselves to be able to stand trial. This particular funding source supports a treatment team. So in the budget, we have a QMHP, two QMHAs, and a couple of peers that go to support our team on the treatment side. And then it also is going to pay for a probation officer with our Marion County Sheriff's Office. This is a little bit new. This is to allow that probation officer to have additional monitoring capability over this population. Within the budget, we also have GPS monitoring devices for those that it's recommended that they have that additional level of support to make sure that they can be seen and treated safely in our community. The parole and probation officer would be the individual who would go to court if someone was not participating actively in their treatment that was prescribed, and they would report that information to the courts, who would then, take action and seek what other, services or what other location for services that might be needed. This is certainly a hot topic at the moment. This is a population that needs a lot of support, needs a lot of services, and there's some current changes potentially to the law around some timelines that I'm not necessarily prepared to speak to here because it's still under consideration. But I think the important thing is that the investment that we have in Marion County with this team and working with our law enforcement partners to make sure that whoever is entrusted under our care and under our supervision, that we have sufficient resources to do that. And that's what this contract will help us do.
Any questions, Commissioners?
No, we went over this in management update at length, and I appreciate this. I think this is going to be an enhancement of services for our community. So,
Thank you.
Good.
Great. Then,
Madam Chair?
Yes, I almost called you Kevin.
That's okay. I've been called worse.
I'm sure.
Madam Chair, I'll move that we approve the incoming funds intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Health Authority in the amount of $901,705 for aid and assist to enhance programs and services that support individuals retroactively to July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, the motion passes. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
And you're staying.
I am.
And again, under Health and Human Services, we're going to consider approval of the incoming funds intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Health Authority in the amount of $6,419,022 to operate and contract services for the operation of addiction treatment services through December 31st, 2023.
Great. All right. Well, this is an exciting contract. So this is known, sort of the vernacular would be the BURN grant, our BURN funding. It's actually, the BURN stands for Behavioral Health Resources Network. And these are funds that came out of Measure 110. So many will remember back in November 2020 when Measure 110 passed, the idea was that there would be a decriminalization of low-level drug offenses and that there would be additional resources that would go towards treatment, to increase access for substance use treatment in our community. The timing of those have not really aligned very well, just by the fact that I'm here just, today at the end of August. August to seek a contract for funding to start increasing the capacity for services. But this is Marion County Health and Human Services portion of our burn grant. Marion County as an entity, as an overall region, received $20 million. The rest of that, basically $14 million, is split over 6 other participating providers that we are working with. We've started to even meet as a collective, as a group. That's really what the focus of these dollars are, is to make sure there's coordination of care and communication across the system, to make sure that there's really no wrong door for people to enter for addiction treatment services. For Marion County specifically, in terms of how we're going to use these funds, we are looking to expand addiction treatment services to a 24/7 model. We will have addiction treatment providers at our psychiatric crisis center, and we will have a 24/7 community response team that will be aimed at sort of the community response that doesn't require a law enforcement intervention. So it would be a qualified mental health professional along with a certified recovery mentor to provide both mental health and substance use treatment in the field to be able to respond to people that have those needs. We're seeing in our crisis center about 90% of the people that walk in the door are under substance use, or have substance use concerns, and so we really see the need for 24/7 capacity to respond to that for our community. In addition, these funds are going to be used to enhance our supported employment program, so we will now have supported employment available for people that are enrolled in addiction treatment services. Historically, that's only been for those that have been enrolled in mental health services, so that's great. If people want to work towards employment, then we have employment specialists that work with our businesses out in the community and find pathways for people to be able to do that. And then also there's funds set aside in our burn grant specifically for community-based grants to increase access to various populations across our county, and we currently have an RFA out there right now seeking proposals from community partners, and so we're excited to see what kind of proposals and innovative thinking that we have from our providers out there. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about this funding.
Commissioner Willis?
This is another one that we've worked absolutely to death, and I really appreciate your patience and answering all of our questions. And my hope is that this is going to be successful in our community. I have some concerns about statewide policy when it comes to addiction and how they're handling it. We can only do so much within the authority that we have, but we're going to do our best, and hopefully we can make some progress.
Great.
Yeah, Madam Chair, if I may, thank you, Ryan, thank you for this, and I know we have been talking a lot about how we're going to use this money, but we have to go back to the legislature and fix ballot measure 110. It is a disaster in this state and in this community, and it was sold to the people. It's not been implemented as it was sold to the people, and if the public understood what's really happening, when you can have 30 tablets of, what do you call that? Fentanyl in your hand and only get a $100 ticket for it that you don't even have to pay, don't get me started. But anyways, we've got some other issues that we need to fix, Ryan, to really go with this money as well. So thank you for what you do in your department, and I hope people are listening that when the legislature takes on ballot measure 110 next session, that there's some good things that get fixed on that.
I agree with everything both of you said. And actually, yesterday there was an article in OPB, and its title is "Meth is Changed in Oregon and It's Sabotaging Oregon's Mental Health System." So it's interesting to me that the creators of Measure 110, who absolutely think that what they've done is the most amazing thing ever, and we know this because we've met with them, don't seem to understand what's happening on the streets, and specifically in Marion County. And one of the challenges that Marion County has for all of our citizens to understand is the Oregon State Hospital is here. It's in Marion County. So for the previous action that we just took, and Ryan mentioned this new ruling that came from a federal judge, that's going to impact Marion County because there's no home rule requirement for those individuals who are committed to the Oregon State Hospital to have to go back to their own county. So guess what? They get released on our streets here in Marion County, and then our behavioral health system has to figure out how to manage it, and we don't have those resources, and it's not as if the other counties are going to write us a check to take care of their citizens, although I might ask, just so we're clear, them to do so. But on a more positive note, your team did some pretty profound work on this burn grant and working regionally with our partners to try to not duplicate services and really focus on the needs of our citizens here in Marion County, because that's what we're charged with. And while I have numerous concerns around this whole system and these dollars and where they're coming from and the intention, I'm excited to see what we're gonna do with these dollars to support the people that have had the chronic challenges, and then try to figure out how to work through the ones that are now developing challenges because they have basically a freeway pass to take drugs.
Yeah.
So, thank you for that, and appreciating my,
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely excited to see that this funding can increase access to substance use treatment. That's very much needed.
Yeah.
I think that it doesn't correct the wrongs that Measure 110 potentially brought to our community. So I think it is, we're going to do the best we can from the service side, but I do think that there's the whole criminal justice law enforcement side related to substance use concerns that I think still, needs to be addressed. We'll see how that goes.
yeah, well, we're gonna keep pushing hard to create some reform there, and I'm sure you'll be with us every step of the way.
Sounds great.
All right, Commissioner Willis, would you make a motion, please?
I will. Madam Chair, I'd move that we approve the incoming funds intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Health Authority in the amount of $6,419,022 to operate and contract services for the operation of addiction treatment services through December 31st, 2023.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, the motion passes. Thanks,
Thank you,
Ryan. Have a
Commissioner.
great day.
Thank you.
All right, now we're going to move over to Public Works to consider approval of the incoming funds intergovernmental agreement with the City of Salem in the amount of $600,000 for the development of Culver Drive Southeast due to traffic impacts associated with the extension of Gaia Street. Max? Hi.
Hi. Morning, Commissioners. Hopefully everyone's doing well this morning. Put together a brief presentation to hopefully help
Madam Chair,
explain-
Max doesn't have the uniform on.
I know. Did you get the memo?
No, Max is an engineer.
Oh,
Yeah, different deal. Different deal. Yeah.
The engineers don't wear ties, apparently. Were you here for board session a couple weeks ago when we gave Scott Wilson a really hard time about the fact that he came all dressed up, which was great? And then in the document packet that was presented to us, somebody reminded him to wear a tie.
I wasn't thinking of the tie, I was thinking of the vest.
that was also
Sorry.
good. Yeah.
Well, I'm stuck on the
I
tie
got a couple of them
thing.
down in my car.
I guess I need to start investing in some.
Carl
No,
is
no, it's
inspiring
He
everyone.
wants to see a safety vest the next time you come.
Oh, okay. I can make that happen.
Those actually are functional, they're not just for style.
Just wear what you want.
It can work for safety.
It's obviously a lively meeting in Marion County.
Hey, it's a good win. So, as you all know and have alluded to, my name is Max Hepper, and I am the Land Development Engineering and Permit Supervisor at Marion County Public Works. I am here to present for your consideration an intergovernmental agreement that establishes incoming funds of $600,000 from the City of Salem that are associated with what would have been required urban improvements along Culver Drive due to the Salem Business Campus subdivision. So back in 2009, the Salem Business Campus subdivision was formerly at the time known as the Salem Renewable Energy and Technology Park, was approved in 2009. It is being developed by the City of Salem's Urban Development Department, so it is a City of Salem development being developed by the City of Salem. Gaia Street is this small kind of violet color, if you will, that is going to be extended to connect into Culver Drive. Culver Drive is a county road, as you are aware of, since we've talked about this a few times, that is in the urban growth boundary, and it is under county jurisdiction. So in order to allow a new intersection, the county has to approve it. Culver Drive, as you can see in this 2019 Google Earth Street View, is a rural roadway, and there is evidence of alligatoring and cracking, and the structural capacity is not ideal at this point in time to allow a new intersection. So in lieu of requiring the urban improvements along Culver, given this is the only section of Culver Drive in the urban growth boundary, we felt it would be a better public benefit to have the city improve Culver Drive from that length from Maclay across their frontage. In further negotiations, the city wanted us to entertain actually taking a fee in lieu instead of having them construct the project, in which county staff have the ability to, by next year or late next year, complete the project. So the IJ establishes that the city will contribute $600,000 by January 1st, 2023 toward the county project to improve the structural capacity of Culver. The county agrees that the project will be completed no later than September 30th of next year. In the interim, to allow this intersection actually be constructed in advance of opening it to the public, will allow a gated emergency vehicle access only to intersect with Culver Drive. until such time the structural improvements are completed by the county, at which point the gate can be removed and opened for regular traffic use. And if there are any questions or comments, I'd be happy to address those at this time.
Is there any questions or comments, commissioners? We may have beat this one to death, too.
Yes.
I might have a comment.
Yeah, I knew you would.
I might have a comment. I think on this one, I'm probably gonna split with my other commissioners. So right now, Culver Drive is basically a rural road.
Correct.
And Salem is providing the resources to fix this rural road so that it's a really good rural road.
Correct.
But my concern is, there's an Amazon facility there, and my concern in punching this through is we're gonna be putting a whole bunch of Amazon trucks and other commercial traffic through onto Culver Drive, and I just feel like in order for that to happen, it needs to be urbanized, and that's not gonna happen here, and I've understood from staff that that's really not feasible for this type of a project, and I'm just really worried about putting urban levels of traffic on a country road, so.
Okay,
Share my concern.
thank you.
Just a question of clarification. Max, did you say this is in the urban growth boundary?
So the actual property is in city limits, but the frontage of the property is in the urban growth boundary, the frontage of Culver Drive, that is. On either the east or west of the actual frontage of the development, it's all considered rural, it's outside the urban growth boundary.
So this is an example of where the urban growth boundary is bouncing up against
Yes.
the
Where it
rural
goes in
area.
and out of rural and UGB, and it creates a weird dynamic of what would be out there if there was, say, sidewalk, curb, landscape strip.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay,
Thank you.
if there's anything else, I don't have any comments. Commissioner Cameron, would you please make a motion?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I will move that we approve the incoming funds intergovernmental agreement with the city of Salem in the amount of $600,000 for the development of Culver Drive Southeast due to traffic impacts associated with the extension of Gaia Street.
I'll second the motion. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Same
Nay.
sign? Great, thank you. The
You
motion.
didn't vote, Commissioner.
You
Aye.
need to vote.
Aye. Okay, well, I seconded it. Isn't that enough?
Oh,
I know, okay. I vote aye. The motion passes. Thanks, Max.
Thank you.
All right, now we're going to move on to consider adopting an administrative ordinance amending the Marion County Code to permit an event business as a home occupation in the exclusive farm use, special agriculture and farm timber EFU/SA/FT zones. Lindsay King, before you get going, I just learned something new about you.
Yes.
You're supposed to have a new last name?
Not yet, but I will soon.
Why is that?
I'm waiting till after we traveled for.
I meant not
Overseas.
that. I didn't mean that. I meant
Oh,
why.
I got married.
Yes. Yay!
Gonna say this.
Thank
She
you.
got married.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're very excited for you.
Thank you.
You can tell me offline why you're not taking it.
Okay, I
How's
was like,
that?
oh yeah, fine. I'm gonna tell everybody.
I mean, if you want to. I mean, my business is out there. Yours will, might as well be too.
No, you chose to run for this office. She just works
That's
here.
true. Although she works in planning, so
Right.
anyway.
Thank you.
Congratulations. We're
I
happy
appreciate
for you.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioners. For the record, Lindsay King, Marion County Planning. On April 15th of this year, staff met with the board and interested citizens to discuss a code that permits home occupations on farmland. The board directed staff to work with stakeholders to develop a code that would permit an event business as a home occupation in the farm zones, so the EFU, farm timber, and SA zone. Staff has met with the stakeholders and developed a draft code. And on June 29th of this year, the board initiated consideration of the amendment to the zoning code. This code provides the availability for property owners who live on a farm and are farming their land to hold events on their property as a part of the home occupation permitting process. It contains standards to minimize potential conflicts with surrounding residential uses and nearby farms. The code developed includes health and safety measures for the operation of the business and is designed to ensure that the business operates as a home occupation. On August 3rd of this year, the board held a hearing to consider the amendments. And after the close of the hearing, the board approved the amendments and directed staff to return with an ordinance reflecting its decision. On August 24th, the board scheduled consideration of adoption for the ordinance for today, and staff recommends the ordinance be adopted as provided. And I'll answer any questions you might have.
Thanks, Lindsay. Commissioners, do you have any questions or comments?
No, we went through an extensive hearing on this on this change a while back. I think the only comment I would make is that how we manage this is going to be important. I think there were some legitimate concerns raised to make sure that this isn't a workaround for mass gatherings of any sort, and that's not the intention of this, and certainly my reading of it is that's not really allowed in this under this change. So my expectation would be that would be our direction to staff as they're reviewing these conditional use permits and that sort of stuff, to make sure that the goal here is to have, allow reasonable family weddings on farms that don't conflict with surrounding farm use. And that's my understanding of how this is going to be implemented, and I think it will be a good thing for our community.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We're still the #1 farm gate agricultural producer in the state of Oregon out of 36 counties, and we have a agricultural heritage that goes way past my lifetime, back, maybe in the future too. We do everything to protect the soil that we have here and the farm, the agricultural production. And so this is just one of those things that I think people really have an opportunity to go out and see the lifestyle and the culture, and yet not interfere with the ability to produce those products that we rely on. And I think it's really good that people are able to get out and see the rich farm agricultural heritage that we have. So I think, like you said, we got to manage this properly, but it'll be a really good thing for the public to be able to experience these events.
Thank you. I've read this a few times, and I was just talking to a farmer in Jervis recently about it, who owns a winery, and so for a very long time, he's been able to do exactly what this code allows other farm use properties to now do, or will potentially allow them to do if we pass this today. But I just want to draw attention to the public, and I know that there's some folks that came previously that were pretty frustrated with this. There's literally 5 pages of rules that you have to comply with in order to be able to be successful in receiving permission and the support of the county. And in addition to that, I was in an event last summer out in McClay on a farm. It was a wedding. A Marion County sheriff showed up because it was really noisy and needed to be regulated. So, there's ways to manage this, and it's not going to be a free-for-all. And for those that are concerned about these mass gatherings, the event does have a cap of 750 people, which is a ton of people, really. I've never been to a farm that's had that many people at it. I think the wedding had maybe 150 people at it. But my point is that there's a lot of detail and care that went into this to make sure that we're managing appropriately our farmlands, and also providing access to landowners to have activities. Otherwise, they couldn't have been before. So thank you for all the time that you and Brandon and whoever on your team put into this, and also the citizens of Marion County that brought this forward. This wasn't an idea of our own. It did come from farm owners in Marion County, and we just heard them out, which we like to do on a regular basis. So if there's other wild ideas out there, just send a commissioner an email and we'll stand up a listening session.
Madam Chair, if I may, just to clarify, you do have to come in for a conditional use permit to even do this. So
That's correct.
It's not just you can do it. I was in the legislature when I worked on that bill to allow wineries to do the things that they get to do. So there's still going to be a lot of oversight and control on this thing. So it'll be good, though, to have these events and have people experience our agricultural heritage. I'm excited about that. I can't wait to go to one. Maybe someday I'll even do that.
Go buy a farm. I'll come to your event.
Well, I was thinking of a personal thing.
Well, and Commissioner, one of the things that I think we should remind everybody too is with conditional use permits, they can be pulled.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if somebody, and we've done this before, where somebody violates the terms of the conditional use, we've pulled that permit and say, you don't get to operate anymore. And so that's an important tool that we have.
Yep. Great. Is there anything else? All right. Commissioner Willis, would you please make a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt an administrative ordinance amending the Marion County Code to permit an event business as a home occupation, the exclusive farm use, special agriculture, and farm timber, EFU, SAFT zones.
I will second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, the motion passes. Thanks, Lindsay, and congratulations again. All right, we're going to recess as a Board of Commissioners and go into a contract review board for an action item under information technology to consider approval of an order granting an exemption to reinstate an expired contract for services with Siemens Industry Incorporated for the Marion County Jail Facility Video Surveillance System. Toby. Hi, Gary, are you joining us? I saw you come in. No. Okay, great.
Toby Giddings, Finance Department.
Nice to see you.
Nice to be here. So in September 20, we entered into a contract with Siemens Industry Inc. For the design and implementation of a surveillance system for the Marion County Jail. That contract expired in December of 2021. In February of 2022, the Finance Department was notified that more work needed to be done. So we had to reinstate the contract in March. In June of 2022, Finance reached out to say, hey, are we on track to be done on time? Because the contract was scheduled to expire July 31st. And it was like, yes, we're on track to be done on time. July 27th, we were informed more work needs to be done. The system has been problematic to implement. And so we quickly tried to put an amendment together. That amendment did not make it through in time, so the contract expired a second time. Marion County rule does not allow us to reinstate a contract more than one time. So I'm here to request an exemption to that rule to reinstate a second time so we can finish and implement a successful surveillance system for the Marion County Jail.
Great. So any questions?
This is important for the safety of our folks.
No, man, just yeah, exactly, public safety issue. Madam Chair, I will, if you're ready.
I'm ready.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve an order granting an exemption to reinstate an expired contract for the services of Siemens Industry, Inc. for the Marion County Jail Facilities Video Surveillance System.
I'll second the motion.
A motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Excuse me. Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. The motion passes. Thanks, Toby.
Thank you.
We will now adjourn as a contract review board and reconvene as a Board of Commissioners to resume action items under information technology to consider approval of amendment number 3 to the contract for services with Siemens Industry Incorporated to add $250,137 for a new contract total of $710,010 for the provision and installation of additional cameras and replacement cameras for the Marion County Jail Video Surveillance System. Gary.
Good morning, Commissioners. Gary Christopherson, IT Director. So since we now have a new contract, thank you very much. We'd like to move forward on the approval of 2 change requests. There's a change request that has already been completed. We just need to execute a payment. We needed the contract in order to do that. We replaced a subset of existing cameras. Again, that work is done. The last piece of work is to replace all the older equipment that's out there. That is what failed. When we reached towards the end of the contract, right there around July, we rolled all the older cameras into the new system, and that's when the failures started to happen. So we rolled back to the existing state. Currently, everything's functioning, but in order to finish it up and have all the cameras on a single system, we need this final change request to replace the old equipment with brand new equipment.
Great. Commissioners?
I see Commander Stutt right there.
Nope. Wrong one. Larson.
Or Larson, sorry, Commander Larson. I'm sorry.
There's a commander.
There's a
back there.
commander. Commander Larson, do you
Do you want to add
want
anything to the record?
For the record, I fully support the.
He's our jail commander, for those who don't know. Okay. Commissioner Cameron, do you have anything?
No, we just got to get this done.
Yeah, we want to get it done as soon as possible. If that's the case, then Commissioner Willis, would you make a motion?
I will. Madam Chair, I move that we approve amendment number 3 to the contract for services with Siemens Industry Incorporated to add $250,137 for a new contract total of $710,010 for the provision and installation of additional cameras and replacement cameras for the Marion County Jail surveillance system.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. All right,
Have fun on your trip.
right up to the second, third, wherever finance is to get a
No,
check.
no,
Oh.
just going for
Oh, fun. Okay, now we are going to, what are we doing? We're gonna convene a public hearing. Yay, another one. It's like week after week. Under a public hearing to consider zone change comprehensive plan amendment ZCCP case number 22-001 Trung Dip, thank you, Chom and Alyssa Teo. Did I get that right? Close enough. All right, sorry about that. Lindsay, you need to like phonetically spell it out so I get it right.
All right, good morning again, Commissioners. For the record, Lindsay King, Marion County Planning. The item before you today is an application to change the comprehensive plan designation from multifamily residential to single-family residential and to change the zone from urban development to single-family residential on a .76 acre parcel located at 4694 Center Street, Northeast Salem. The property is located on the south side of Center Street, approximately 0.7 miles from Lancaster Drive. Properties to the west are zoned urban development and developed with single-family homes. Properties to the north are zoned single-family and within Salem city limits, also developed with single-family homes. Properties to the east and south are zoned residential multifamily and within Salem city limits and are currently being developed with multifamily. The Planning Division requested comments from various governmental agencies, and those comments are located within the file, including comments from the City of Salem. The hearings officer conducted a public hearing in May of this year, and on June 28th issued a recommendation that the board deny the request. The hearings officer found that the applicant did not satisfy all the relevant approval criteria for a comprehensive plan and zone amendment and zone change, specifically stating that the change to single-family in an area already developed with multifamily uses could affect future development of adjacent parcels zoned with more intensive uses. The applicant is seeking both a comprehensive plan amendment and a zone change, and the zone change is dependent upon receiving that comprehensive plan amendment. Therefore, if the applicant fails to obtain this comprehensive plan amendment, then they cannot obtain the proposed zone change. Beginning on page 4 of the recommendation, the hearings officer discusses the applicable comprehensive plan policies and zone change criteria, which they concluded that the policies and criteria were not met and does recommend denial. The board has the options of continuing the public hearing, close the hearing and leave the record open, close the hearing and approve, modify, or deny the request, or remand the matter back to the hearings officer. I'll answer any questions you might have.
Thanks, Lindsay. Commissioners, are there any questions for Lindsay at this time?
I do have a question at this time. One of the things that jumped out at me in the analysis, and I just want to clarify this from a technical matter, is there's a statement that the applicable goals and policies of the Salem Area Comprehensive Plan are addressed. Policy E1, the location and density of residential uses shall be determined after consideration of the following factors, right? That's what it says there. Consideration means that the governing body has to consider the factors and make findings on those factors, right?
I believe so, yes.
But it's not determinative of the outcome, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Thank you.
Jane, your face, she's got
Yeah,
a puzzled look on her face.
Well, no, you know what, I think that the word consideration may be being used in different ways. I think you're looking at it as a legal finding. And so, I think they do have to consider those things. Those are things you are legally required to look at. How you put the facts into those considerations is up to you.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
that was what I was trying to
Yeah.
clarify. Yeah, thank you.
Is that it? You have anything, Lindsay, Commissioner?
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Lindsay.
We'll bring you back up possibly later. All right, so Brittany Randall.
Good morning, Commissioners. Okay, for the record, my name is Brittany Randall with Brand Land Use. My address is 12150 Jefferson Highway, 99E Southeast in Jefferson. So we have kind of a strange application before you today. Maybe the first time you've considered downzoning from multifamily to single family. And I'm going to run through a bunch of numbers to demonstrate why sometimes multifamily is not appropriate on certain pieces of land in Marion County.
Can I ask a clarifying question? I'm sorry to
Sure.
interrupt you. Isn't this zone urban transition?
It is.
Okay.
It is, but because the property, in order to be developed, including a partition, would have to be annexed into the city of Salem because it's abutting city limits, the zone needs to be changed because the comprehensive plan is the governing document.
Right, so isn't it the case that urban transition allows, like, you would rezone it when you develop something in urban transition, right?
Yes.
You would rezone it either into single family or multifamily. It's just been said that this is zone multifamily, but it's not actually zone multifamily.
It's not
urban
zoned
transition.
multifamily, but once it's annexed into the city for the applicant and property owner to be able to partition his house off, it would be zoned multifamily, which would disallow the partition.
So that's just an automatic action with the
Yes.
annexation.
But I just want to be but I think this is actually really important. Currently, the property is not zone multifamily.
True.
So I just want to make sure that we're not downzoning anything, right? We're not taking something that's multifamily and the request is to change something from multifamily to single family. The request is to take something that's currently zoned urban transition and zone it single family, correct?
Sort of.
So I think it's a two-part process.
Can you bring your microphone to your?
So first of all, before you get to the zone change, and Lindsay can help me with this one, but before you get to the zone change, you have to consider the request to change the comp plan designation, which is urban development. And they want to change the comp plan designation from urban development to single family, correct?
No, the comp plan is designated multifamily.
To
Yeah.
okay.
So you're talking about the zone.
No, I'm talking about the comp plan designation.
Urban transition is the zoning.
Yeah,
The comprehensive plan designation is multifamily.
okay, but that's done first. The comp plan change is done first.
Yes.
Then we get to the zone change.
Yes.
Okay.
So
you
the
gotta-
comp plan, it is a multifamily
Correct.
designation?
Yes.
Okay.
And we're moving the applicant is proposing to move from multifamily to single
Single
family.
family in the
So
comp,
that they
in the
can go
comp
from
plan.
Yeah.
urban development zone to single family
To single
zone.
family. Okay, because you just said down zone, and I was like, I don't think this is zone multifamily, but there's a comp plan designation.
For the applicant to do anything, they have to annex into the city. So when it comes into the city,
Right, but that's
it
a
will
separate
change from urban
process.
transition to multifamily. So we have to change
how
the
this-
comprehensive plan in order for that to not happen.
I understand, but this is, the county's making the decision now, not the city. So I just don't, I understand that there's a process that you'd have to go through with the city. I just want to make sure that we're clear on what the action is today.
Yeah.
But that makes
We
sense.
just want to keep the bodies separate. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit messy because it's Salem's document that we have to change.
It's-
But you have the authority to do that.
yeah,
You
it's-
have the
it's
authority to
act-
do
Yeah,
so.
it's not messy because we're the governing body in this instance.
it might
Right.
be confusing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
That maybe is a better word.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks,
great,
Brittany.
thank you.
Carry on with all your numbers.
Okay.
Okay,
So stop me at any point because I have a lot of information here.
okay.
Okay, so the applicant is presenting a consolidated application to change the comprehensive plan map designation and zoning designation, the comprehensive plan from multifamily residential, the zoning from urban development to single family with single family residential zoning. Okay. The applicant wishes to maintain his recently improved single family residence while exploring opportunities for future development of single family housing types like those addressed in House Bill 2001. The subject site is approximately 0.79 acres or 34,412 square feet in size, and we are located at 4694 Center Street Northeast in Salem. This application falls under the jurisdiction of Marion County, which is why we're before you today. One of the items addressed by the hearings officer was that we didn't adequately respond to the approval criteria, which I strongly disagree with. The hearings officer is bound by old and what I would consider bad information, which is density requirements and housing requirements brought down by the state of Oregon. So as we've discussed, for this property to develop further at all, it would have to be annexed into the city of Salem. When this property is annexed into the city of Salem, because of House Bill 2001, middle housing types are going to be allowed. So here's where I get into all the stuff. The removal of the 0.79 acres of land from the inventory of multifamily is not detrimental to the community. If the property were developed with its current designation within Marion County, the allowable density would be 1 dwelling unit per 1,500 square feet. So in this case, the maximum density is approximately 23 dwelling units. However, there is a very large single-family home that was recently remodeled and finished on the site, which takes up approximately 12,000 square feet, dropping the maximum density from 23 dwelling units down to 15 dwelling units. Because the property cannot be developed in Marion County, as noted by the comments received by the Public Works Department of City of Salem, reviewing the property with Marion County densities is sort of arbitrary. So if the property was annexed into the city with its current comprehensive plan designation, it would come in either as RM1 or RM2 zoning. Those are the two density types for City of Salem multifamily zoning. RM1 density would be as follows. With the removal of the area of the single-family dwelling, the remaining property is approximately 0.51 acres in size. So the RM density would be 4 to 8 dwelling units. If this property came in as RM2 density, the dwelling units would be 7 to 15. In the RS zone with a cottage cluster, there's no maximum density with a minimum density of 4 cottages. Staff asserts in their report that House Bill 2001 does not impact this property. However, it's clear that House Bill 2001 needs to be considered here as it will apply to any future development upon annexation of the subject property into the city. With the current designation, the applicant cannot partition his land, allowing him to keep his recently improved home separate from future development. In order to see the development of the additional dwelling units on the remainder of the property in the future, the requested designation is imperative.
Can you read that again, what you just said?
Yes. In order to see the development of additional dwelling units on the remainder of this property in the future, the requested designation change is imperative.
Okay.
We believe our application does satisfy the applicable policies and goals given the newly adopted codes, which allow a wider variety of housing types within a single-family zone. If I can answer any questions, I will do so now.
Commissioners?
I do have, Madam Chair, I do have a question, and maybe you can answer it or staff. So if you're in a single-family zone today, you can add higher density in that based on House Bill 2001, correct?
In the city of Salem, yes, not in Marion County.
Right. So wait, let me
No,
finish.
In Marion County, you can as well.
No.
2001 doesn't apply, but we do allow duplexes and triplexes in single-family zone housing in Marion County today.
We allow duplexes on certain lots, corner lots, for example.
This one would not qualify.
Let me finish my line here, please. So if we turn this into a single-family residential zone, it's still going to have to be annexed into the city, correct?
True, yes.
Right, because they're going to hook up with water. And at that point in time, it still could be developed in multifamily based on House Bill 2001. Am I accurate in that statement?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You can just stay. You might as well. Commissioner Willis?
In addition to that, what you're saying is if this is not rezoned single-family, then it can't be partitioned, and then therefore you can't actually develop that into put more units on it, is that right?
Right, it's not financially feasible.
So-
The partition part. correct?
So
Yes.
practically, in terms of putting more density on this lot, the way to do it is to rezone it, is that right?
Yes,
The way you're asking?
that is our position, yes.
Do you have anything else for Brittany? Do you have anything else for Brittany? I have a frog in my throat today, I can't get it out.
Me too.
Sorry, do you have anything else for Brittany? We have more public comment, possibly. Are you going to testify, sir? Yes. Okay, so, great. We might bring you back. Thanks,
Okay.
Brittany.
I'll stick around.
All right, and next will be, is it I see the Craig part. Is it Wigginton? Wigginton. Okay, it's connected to Brittany's name up there, so.
It's a nice chair.
So introduce yourself for the record, please.
My name's Craig Wigginton. I live at 261 Friendship Avenue, Southeast, Salem, Oregon. I'm a resident my whole life in Oregon. And I'm a close personal friend of Chum, which Chum Dip is his name, is an immigrant here. And I'm going to speak on his behalf.
You want to, scoot forward to the microphone.
He is out of town. His mother-in-law just passed away, which is fine because she was
sorry.
103, so good for her. His intent when he bought this property, I'm a real estate broker in Salem for almost 30 years. My mom is for almost 50. So we're pretty well knowledgeable in real estate. But he bought this property, built this house. It's almost 4,000 square foot house. He built it in the northwest corner of the property with an intent to partition the property in the future for his daughters to have each a house and to build a couple rental houses in the back for his retirement. He is a builder. He's knowledgeable. So the economic harm that this is going to create on him is huge. So when we just talk about partitions, this and that, it's the financing part that really makes, probably not taken in effect or in account. So when you go to buy, first-time home buyer, you can get in with nothing down on some programs, 3% down. Once you go to a duplex, a triplex, a fourplex, it goes up. The down payment part makes it harder to finance, which actually makes the price go down on some properties. Once you go past 5 units and more, now you gotta put 25% down for the rich, for the people who bought 2 or 3 houses down the road to have equity. So it really, for him to have to build 12 units next to his 1,000 square foot house, devalues his house. Who's gonna do that? Nobody's gonna do that. It's worth more as a big house on this parcel than it would ever be to devalue his house. For who? Who's gonna benefit from this? To be a good steward of the land and of our community, we want more housing, more lots, more access. We don't want a pocket of land that's gonna sit there forever, surrounded by apartments and other houses, which is gonna be the case if this doesn't get partitioned. The rule is that you can't partition anything less than a half acre in RM zoning. You can't separate it. It has to, for big parcels. If you had 2 acres, you could partition off your house on a half acre and do the rest, but that's not the case here. So bottom line, economically, it's gonna sit. It will sit. It will never it'll get sold for what it is, and it will just be a pocket and a use to no one but the person who lives there. It's not gonna be a higher tax base for Salem. It's just gonna be what it is. Basically, that's what I have to say. So when we look at those things, we gotta take in not just the reality, but the financing, who can do it, who can't do it. It makes a huge financial impact on people. Anyway, that's what I have to say.
Thank you for being here. Okay, commissioners, do you have anything for staff or Brittany before we move into our deliberation?
I have some things that I just want to establish, because one of the things, and we've run into this before, where the comp plan says something, but it's not necessarily reflective of reality, right? So in this case, the comp plan says this is multifamily, right? But when I actually looked at this area, I didn't actually find any multifamily. It looks like almost everything is actually a single-family home bordering it. I'm not talking about the map designations. I'm talking about the actual structures. Like, there's not a lot of density here.
So currently, just to the east and south there is a large apartment facility being built within Salem city limits.
Okay.
So on
Are
the
there any?
It's
bordering
like-
this property, and then
But it's like pretty far away.
it's touching the property line.
It is?
The
It's on.
Do you know which lot that
Let me
is?
get my little map out here.
Thanks.
It is, so it kind of looks like a fork missing three of its prongs. Just to the east of it, the property just to the east.
Oh, 4684.
I believe that's the address. It's a thin parcel right
Yeah,
across the
it's
street
really
from
long.
Wildflower Street.
Yep.
That whole parcel is being developed with multifamily apartments.
Wildflower Street. Am I looking at the wrong place?
Directly across the street from Center,
To the north.
to the north. So,
Oh.
but this is to
Because you
the
said to the
south.
south. I'm
She said to the
confused.
east.
So if this is the parcel, it's to the east and to the south of it.
Yeah, so it's this, on my map, so I pulled up the GIS, it's this one right here.
It's a fairly large parcel.
Whoop. I wish this was a touch screen. I can't, anyway, it's right next to it.
Okay, but that's the only one that's being developed multifamily.
There is one, a couple of parcels to the west that looks like it's being developed with higher density. I'm not entirely sure what type of housing it is, but it is a higher density that is also
On
located
the
within.
other side of the food pantry?
Yes,
Okay, so that's not adjacent to this property.
no. And the other parcels, adjacent to this one to the west are still in the urban development zone.
Right.
With the intent, in discussions with the City of Salem Planning, the intent is for these to be multifamily developments at some time in the future, but no, the ones to the east and the south are the only ones that are currently being developed with multifamily, as far as I could tell on a site visit.
Okay. I'm
Careful,
not saying, I'm
careful,
not
careful.
saying this for you. I really like you.
I got it.
Just for the world, we are the governing body
Yes,
for these parcels. I just want to say it again, because Salem is not the governing body for zoning for these parcels, right? That's why this is here in front of us.
that's correct.
Okay. Okay. So the reason I brought that up, though, is because one of the criteria is, does this fit within the development, within the neighborhood, right? Is this type of housing consistent with the type of housing that surrounds it? And the hearings officer found that that was not the case. And I think she was wrong, because the majority of the properties surrounding this property are single-family homes. There's only one that's even being currently developed as multifamily, right? All the other structures in the area surrounding this property are single-family homes. So I just think it's hard for me when you say, is this consistent with the housing that surrounds it, right? If all the housing that surrounds it, except for one parcel, is zoned single-family, then it's awfully hard for me to say, well, then it doesn't fit because one parcel is being developed multifamily. It doesn't make any sense, right? That's not
Right.
That's not something that a normal person using their reason would come to that conclusion, right? If the minority of the parcels surrounding it are zoned multifamily and the majority are single-family urban transition, you wouldn't say, oh, this doesn't fit because that one parcel is there. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
No, and I agree with you on the map. I just want to clarify, because I think what she found was just a little bit different. I think what she said was that the proposed designation could disrupt the pattern of development given its current designation. I think that's just a little bit of a distinction. So I think she was talking more about the current designation it was in.
Well, but-
And that was just my reading of her decision.
So the criteria, though, is the character of existing neighborhoods.
Right.
Based on height, bulk, scale of existing and proposed development neighborhoods. So
Right.
that word existing, right, she found that criterion was not met.
Right, and
But
she-
the existing neighborhoods are single-family zone
Right.
neighborhoods and are developed in single-family, right? So if the question is, does the character of this being single-family fit with existing neighborhoods? The answer has to be yes.
Right, and I totally, your opinion is your opinion, but I just want to clarify what she said was the site is bordered by both single-family housing types and multifamily designations, and this proposed designation could disrupt the pattern of development that focuses on multifamily.
Right,
But
but that's not what the
Right.
criteria says, so that's why I think she's
Right.
wrong, because that's not actually the correct analysis for that criteria.
I also don't agree with her, and I think, Jane, what you're saying, the way I interpreted what she wrote is, it's my opinion that the hearings officer is looking towards the city of Salem's jurisdiction and their intent to make her findings, which I disagree with.
Right.
So I disagree because when I look at this GIS map and where this property is, if I was standing on this particular property and I was to stretch my arms out, maybe on either side of my arms, there is designated multifamily and or development going in. But literally every single road, 45th Place Northeast, Auburn Road Northeast, Greencrest Street Northeast, there's several. And then if we want to go north of that, every single neighborhood and road around this, there's thousands of single-family residential homes. So I understand, possibly without having the opportunity to talk to her, what her mindset was, what she was thinking, but I disagree with it. And I disagree because Salem has whatever they're doing, but the point of Salem's housing needs analysis was to develop more housing. Now, they are focusing on multifamily densification, which has been made pretty clear by myself that I don't agree with spot zoning and or densifying multifamily in spaces in jurisdictions that I have the authority to make a decision over. But I do support housing. I do support developing more housing, and I appreciate that we were provided information today to understand what the intention of this property was, because that was not provided in the application, and I would encourage anybody in the future to provide more context in their applications so that way the board has information going forward when we're doing our research, because we don't just do it here in the dais, right? We're spending days before. So I don't want the hearings officer to feel like her opinion is invalid. I just don't agree with it, and I specifically don't agree with it because she's looking at the Salem designation and their intent for the future, which I don't support. So,
There's another
okay.
Yeah.
one I want to make. One of the criteria is the type and distribution of housing units required to meet the expected population growth in the Salem urban growth boundary. And she found that criterion was not met, but based on what I've heard today, this designation will actually allow for more housing on this piece of property. And so I would find that this criterion has been met. So that's another one that I think she got wrong.
Madam Chair.
Yes,
Yeah, I would agree with Commissioner Willis. That's why I made the point.
yeah.
Once this property is annexed into the city, it can be multi-unit even though it's single-family zone based on House Bill 2001. So,
That's correct.
So by doing this, and it's gonna, we don't like to lose property inside our urban growth boundary, but by doing this, when they go to add a house, whatever they do, they're gonna be annexed into the city automatically.
Right.
And it becomes eligible for 2001, so it increases the density ability for the city of Salem's plans. So, we're not doing anything that stops that from happening in the future.
That's
No.
right.
Correct?
But
Yes.
But I think what we potentially would do if we don't adopt staff's findings and the hearings officer findings today is we're allowing for the property owner who purchased this land with an intention of diversifying it in the future to do it the way they want to and not have to conform with a government's intention who really has no idea what their life looks like. So I think personally, I think it's supportive of all the things that we want, even though we're not getting there the same way, at least for me. Provides more housing, but it provides more housing the way the landowner wants it, and it's not multifamily in someone's backyard.
But my point being is the homeowner has the ability in the future to do whatever they want to
Right.
based on House Bill 2001.
Exactly. Anything else, Commissioner Willis?
I like freedom.
I like freedom too.
Well, there's a few more criteria here that are the same thing, but I guess I would say the analysis comes back to the same thing, where her analysis is this zoning would create less housing if we were to make this plan amendment would lead to less housing, and that's wrong. That's incorrect. It'll lead to more housing. And then the comp plan amendment would make this piece of property inconsistent with the surrounding neighborhood, and that's also incorrect. It actually fits better with the surrounding neighborhood. So I would say we could go point by point on each one, but I think as I look through it, those are the two major findings that are influencing the decision on each of the criteria.
Yeah, most of the criteria center around goal 10, which is housing. And my goal here is just I think you've had a great discussion around the criteria, and you've really fleshed out what your basis for your upcoming decision is, and that's really important for our record.
Thank you.
Good.
Okay,
So you ready, Madam
I
Chair?
am. I lost my agenda. Okay.
You got anything, Ms. Lindsay, or
No,
otherwise? Okay.
thanks for being here.
Madam Chair,
Sure.
I will move that we close the public hearing and approve zone change comprehensive plan amendment ZCCP, case number 22001, Trung Deep, Chom, and Alyssa Toy, right? Did I get those right?
Close enough.
Close. It's in print.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, the motion passes. Thank you, Lindsay, and members of the public for being here. And we have nothing else on our agenda unless there's something for the record, other than the fact that we're going to go celebrate Shram's last day, or maybe not celebrate. We're going to wallow in it.
We got cake.
We got some coffee cake. Okay, meeting adjourned. Have a great day. Thank you.